Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's once again Friday night on the bus. And of course, as I always say, you know what that means? It is the place to be on a Friday night. It is that Friday feeling here on the bus. And it is, I hope you've all got that Friday feeling because once again, Celtic are in action. And yes, tonight we are here to look forward to the game. It is a Saturday evening game. Bit of an unusual one there, bit of a rarity for us. But yes, thanks to Premier Sport and their new contract, the new shiny contract this season for covering Scottish football. They have a 5:30 or 5:45 slot now on a Saturday night, and Celtic will be playing St Johnstone tomorrow at McDermott Park there. So yes, we'll be looking forward to that as well. Just general Celtic chit-chat as we do here on the bus. And Charles Smith saying Friday beer on the bus for the good guys. Well, I appreciate you saying that, Charles. Thank you very much. You know what else I appreciate? I appreciate this man to my side here, of course, and I know you'll appreciate him as well. He is Canada's favourite Tim, and he is the wise man of the bus. It is Liam Greenlaw. How are you doing this fine Friday night, sir?
Great, mate. Really good. Nice start to the weekend. It's been raining all week. Sun's out. As you can see, this is the dramatic Hollywood lighting. This is real. Enjoying that before it starts raining.
Yeah. Winter is a coming indeed. And I know when it. Well, to be fair, the way the Scottish summer went, you thought winter would already have been here. It was absolutely abysmal. But before we end up just shooting shit about the weather all night, let's do all that good stuff, folks. Let's make sure we get all that out of the way first and foremost. All the good stuff, all the housekeeping. So of course, you can hit that like button. Help us out massively in the old algorithms, and it gets the bus recommended in more people's inboxes on YouTube and recommended videos, and people who like Celtic podcasts, it spreads it up because YouTube loves an interactive channel. Of course, you can get involved in our comment section tonight like many people already are doing, so let's give some shout outs to some of the regulars who are in there. We've got Patrick McLaughlin, we've got Ian McIntosh, Jim C, Joe Hendry, Charles Smith already mentioned, Jim Dolan, who else have we got? We've got Patrick Kerrigan, Graham Tyrrell, Sean Taylor. Yeah, we've got lots coming in. So yes, get involved in our comment section tonight for myself and Liam. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. What are you doing? Why are you not done that yet? Hit the subscribe button. Keep the bus in your life that little bit longer. And share the link of the Bhoycie Bus on whatever social media platform hasn't burnt itself to the ground yet, because Twitter's definitely heading in that direction, or X as it's known nowadays. And I am, of course, I've mentioned that a few times now on the show, but I am duly informed we do have a TikTok page nowadays. So hey, if TikTok is your thing, you can find the Bhoycie Bus on there as well. And of course, you can have it with piesports.com, and you can use the code BUS1888 and you'll get 12.5% off your tasty pastry treats. And yes, with all that said and done, Liam, let's get that Friday feeling on the road. Let's talk about Celtic and, of course, the game tomorrow. But first and foremost, Liam, we live in a different world than what we did last Friday, a week ago. How do you feel knowing that we've had Celtic Park clamouring for Greg Taylor to come on the park last week, Liam? No joke, at Celtic Park. Now, I'll get your thoughts on the Falkirk game, even though it was a week ago. But of course, the last time you were on was last Friday. But a mad game. Now, funny enough, at the end of the show, when we did our prediction, I think you said 5 goals, and I said we'll win, but I went for 3-0, we'll win by 3. In the end, we did score 5 goals and won by 3 in an absolutely insane game of football when you actually think about it. But yes, there was a point last week where people were actually clamouring for Greg Taylor to be on the park. And you know what? He came on and steadied the ship. He did all right. The rest of all the boys that came on steadied the ship. But Alex Valier, obviously, who we were pining for, because we need competition for Taylor. We do, because we can't keep going with one left back. But obviously, he got a game, and many people, pointed the finger at him. I said to David and Regan on Tuesday night, like, okay, the 2 goals, he could have done a bit better with upper body strength and whatnot, but I think especially with the first goal, I think everybody switched off, and I think a lot of players have got a bit of blame in that one. So I don't point the finger solely at the lad himself. But I just wanted to come on right away and just start with the quite surreal moment where people were delighted to see Greg Taylor on the park. Liam, I'm sure you share that enthusiasm, don't you?
Aye, in a kayfabe pro wrestling type of way, where you believe something's real will actually start looking like it's real, that you can convince yourself so much that we've got a player here. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the new guy, I thought he was unfortunate. That was a deliberate pullback. I mean, the guy grabbed him by the arm and prohibited him from moving forward. Whether you want to be strong or not, I mean, every league in the world, that's the referee's whistle.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I thought the other players around him reacted poorly as well. So could he blame the entire thing on just that one player? But, you know, I blame Greg Taylor for a lot of things, but mostly I can back them up. You know, and as you know, we lost a goal in what was it the opening game playing against the Slovenian team, right? Ball comes into our box. He's got plenty of time to clear it. There's nobody near it. He could head the ball. He could kick the ball. He could have probably brought it down on his knee and put it out. No, he takes a swing at it, and then it just goes straight up in the sky. And that's lack of focus. That's lack of concentration. And I don't know if you wanted that to clamour on. I thought the boy did okay when he came on. I thought the header he released for Bernardo's goal, I thought that was class. And you can see that there was intent there. So, yeah, I don't know. Careful what you're clamouring for. I mean, Jesus. I mean, we need to upgrade in that position. And it's only going to be a matter of time before it bites us in the arse. This boy's got to adapt to Scotland. The other one, I think he could have done better as well. And by the way, I thought Schmeichel looked fucking terrible on that. He was like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm seeing him go to that side a lot and he's weak, right? So, yeah, I want to, I think you should have saved that one.
That'd be the first Falkirk goal you're talking about.
The header that beat him as well. I mean, that's two. I've seen him really flat-footed. That's went into that corner where he's not really moved. I know that one took a deflection. Was it a deflection, that one?
No, the headed one was, I say, everybody just kind of froze waiting for a foul to get given. In fact, both goals, I think the players were guilty of waiting for a foul. But then the cross comes in, the boy Yessss runs in and heads it down into the corner, and the whole defence are just standing there watching it, and Schmeichel stands there watching it as well. So yeah, they were caught flat-footed on both goals. I think everybody's guilty of waiting for a whistle instead of, just play to the whistle. If it doesn't come, just keep playing, stay alert. But yeah, it was a bonkers game of football in the end, and we did recover. It probably shouldn't have got to the point where we had to, make as many subs as we did to turn that around. But we got there in the end. But yeah, I just thought I know that people come on a Friday night. One of the things they love to see is a good spirited Greg Taylor chat. So I thought, let's get a Greg Taylor mention in there, get an early mention for Greg Taylor, because yeah, it was quite surreal last week when people were, as I say, clamouring for Greg Taylor to come on, and he came on. He did all right. He steadied the ship at the back, but it was an interesting experiment for Brendan, and I hope he learned from it. Luckily now we're down to the last four in the League Cup. I don't think he's going to mess around with, weakened teams now. We're at the business end of the League Cup. So it's Aberdeen next at Hampden, a team who are playing pretty well. So I can't see him doing something radical like that again. I mean, it's a couple of changes in the back line maybe would have been fine. If you and I spoke about it last Friday, we would have a few, maybe 4 or 5 changes in the team overall. But when you actually look at it, the front three were completely changed and the back four were completely changed. Right. It was quite mental. I say the middle, Hatate and McGregor started. Bernardo can kind of rotate in and out. To be fair, Ida can kind of rotate in and out. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. But yeah, I hope he's learned his lesson, Liam, that don't take those types of chances again. You don't want to have to rely on getting all the first team players on with such huge fixtures coming up in the Champions League. You don't want, we should have dusted them aside. But anyway, it's done now. But
you expect your manager to be perfect every time. And then every now and again you see these things that show up and say, okay, so Rodgers, sometimes, he can get it wrong as well. And sometimes he puts faith in the players and that faith doesn't get paid back, And it's like, okay, so he's learned something as well about the players that he's put on. And, Stephen Welsh should have been able to go into that line and, and do well. He's an experienced player. He wasn't breaking himself in. And yet the American boy looked much more assured, I think, than Stephen Welsh.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we're going to have to put some trust in Trusty, if you mentioned him there, because there's a good chance he'll be playing at the weekend. And also, breaking news, Russell has appeared in chat, says he'll jump on the bus in 10 minutes if that's cool. Of course it's cool. It's the Bhoycie Bus. Of course it's cool, mate. If you wish to come on and join us, then Brilliant. It's Friday night. Remember a few weeks ago, the three of us were on again, Liam, on a Friday night. It was just like the Bustalgia. It was just like the old times, just like the good old days when the Bhoycie Bus was still in black and white and whatnot, back in the vintage days of the Bhoycie Bus. It's like, yeah, the three of us on the Friday night. It's heritage on the bus. That's what it is. That's the tradition around here.
He's seen me on the night and he's figured, you know what, I need to ask Liam some shampoo and conditioner advice and all that,
Yeah, so Russell will be joining us very, very soon. Yes, so there we go. So we'll see him very, very soon on screen. But yeah, let's have a wee chat then about some interesting news. So I said at the top of the show there, obviously tomorrow night, yes, and I said night, we are playing St Johnstone at McDermott Park. And Brendan Rodgers has had to say on this. He's had to say on the kickoff time. Now, personally speaking, I don't think there's too much of a problem with a Saturday night game. I quite like the idea of a Saturday night game. I know down in England they've had a 5:30 kickoff in the Premier League for God knows how long now. I think it's a bit more of a spectacle when a game's under the floodlights. I think there's just something better about it. I know it's McDermott Park, but to me, I think the sort of aura around the fixture, to me, I've got no problem with Saturday night. I do know the Premier Sport have got a game coming up for our noisy neighbours, where they will be playing at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night against St Johnstone in the near future, which thankfully we haven't got. And hopefully Premier Sports don't get any ideas and decide to make that a regular thing, because no chance, because I mean Sundays at 3 o'clock at Celtic Park can be a real inconvenience. But yeah, I've generally as a fan, I have no issue with the kickoff time. But the manager, Brendan Rodgers, has been taking issue with it, saying about whereas having Dortmund on the Tuesday night, maybe a bit more consideration could have been made here. But I don't think, me personally, I don't think it's much of an excuse. I don't think we should have any problem what time we play St Johnstone. Dortmund will take care of itself in terms of the team they'll be up for. I don't think playing St Johnstone on a Saturday night, because there's maybe a 3-day gap you're meant to get between games, so that still works out. You play them at 12:30, you play them at 3 o'clock, whatever, still play them in the same day, a couple hours difference. To me, it doesn't make too much difference. How do you feel about it? Do you think Brendan's right to have a wee bit of a go about it, or do you think it's just something over nothing, essentially?
I don't know depends who he's talking about. If he's talking about the fans or the players. If it's recovery time, like an extra 4 hours recovery time, a lot of the players will be going out on a Saturday night anyway, unless we're flying immediately to Germany. But I doubt that you do that right after the game. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just looking at the fans as well, and knowing that a lot of fans travel for England and Ireland and Wales and that to come and watch us as well, and that might be just really putting taxing on them to be able to get transportation home and all that, so it's something like that. What you're saying as well about the late night games on like Sunday late night games, you get Aberdeen, don't you?
Oh, God, don't put that out in the universe. Premier Sports will be listening. Don't do it. I do believe though the Rangers one against St Johnstone is an anomaly, because there's something happening in Glasgow earlier that day on the Sunday that means that they've had to move it to a later kickoff. I think that's literally just a one-off, but I hope it is. I pray to God, because I think if they get one, eventually we're going to get one. And it's like, no, I'm not waiting around till a Sunday 8 o'clock for the Celtic game. I mean, Jim C here saying, no, Phil, I'm pacing up and down all day waiting on the game at 7:45. Way too late for me. So there you go. Imagine an 8 o'clock on a Sunday. I'd rather not, to be honest. But yeah, we will be playing now. So yeah, Brendan's obviously had to say on it. I think going by what he said, I can understand what you mean about the fans, because yeah, there are fans who travel over from Ireland and other parts, are coming in from all sorts of places to watch Celtic. Their away support come from far and wide. So it can be a bit of an inconvenience for them. But the way Brendan's putting it across, I think he's referring more to the players. But realistically, a few hours extra recovery, I don't think it's too much a problem. And realistically, it's St Johnstone. I mean, they have been pretty poor this season. They are currently managerless as well. Craig Levein obviously got his jotters not too long ago. So they're currently managerless. So I realistically shouldn't be too stressed about that one. But I did find it interesting that Brendan had to say on it. But yeah, Dortmund will, of course, take care of itself. And let's have a wee eye just forward to the Dortmund game. We'll skip ahead just now if we're talking about the St Johnstone lineup and whatnot. But obviously Dortmund comes on Tuesday night, and yeah, this is the big boy league now. This is the table we want to be at. last season's Champions League finalists, a team that does have a very good rapport with Celtic. I know the fans, there's a lot of good camaraderie there between the fans, but of course, come kick-off time on Tuesday, you can take all that birthday card pish and you can throw it in the bin, because I am not here to make friends. I want to see Celtic, get a result. I want to see them play well. It's going to be a tall order, though. It's a big ask. I know that Borussia Dortmund obviously got an absolute doing last week in the Bundesliga. They lost 5-1 to Stuttgart. The problem is, Stuttgart are one of the better teams in the Bundesliga. This wasn't some sort of freak result. Stuttgart finished second last season, and Liam's disconnected on me as well. So I'll just keep on talking while he comes back. And maybe Russell will come back. Maybe Russell will come on because he says he's on his way. Oh, there's Liam back now. There he is. But yeah, the thing with Dortmund is, or the game with Stuttgart is, that last season Leverkusen won the Bundesliga for the first time, which got all the headlines, but Stuttgart finished second. So Stuttgart beating Dortmund 5-1 last week. It's not too much of an oddity. I wouldn't read too much into that. Maybe we can surprise them. Stuttgart are a good team, so that's why they beat them that heavily. It's going to be a tough one. I'll probably have more of a say on my predictions for it, but I do feel, Liam, it might be one of those ones where we're behind the couch watching it at times, one of these uncomfortable ones. I hope it's not. I hope Celtic have a really good account of themselves, but I keep thinking back to Atletico Madrid away last season, where everything that can go wrong for Celtic tended to go wrong that night. Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe. They get a man sent off. They give away sloppy goals. It's like, you can't emphasise it enough, Liam, that every player has to be absolutely on it from minute one next week, and the concentration levels have to be so high, because you give the ball away cheaply at this level, you will get punished.
Well, we played this level already. We played Man City and we played Chelsea. And I know it's in a friendly, but if you look at the football it was keep the ball away from them. And they did that. And they did that with world-class players on the pitch. I mean, I don't feel as I'm behind the couch as much as I am this time. If we have the same team that played in the last game, except Greg Taylor, but CC, big worry. If CC is playing, and it's Stephen Welsh in there, yeah, I'm behind the couch with you, mate.
It'd be wild if it's Stevie Welsh, because I said that last week. Like, what does Mike Nawrocki have to do to get ahead of him? I mean, right now we've got 5 centre-backs on our books, and, you've got 2 centre-backs that play regularly, and it's like Mike Nawrocki couldn't even start last week ahead of Stephen Welsh, and it's like, Jesus, man, what has he got to do? But I think it will be Austin Trusty. But you mentioned Carter Vickers there, so this is a bit of a concern, because after the Rangers game at the start of September, Liam, he was seen leaving the stadium with like a protective boot on. And obviously he's played games since then, but there has been these stories flying around that is something is bothering him, and obviously he's out tomorrow. And at the moment, we don't know if he'll make Tuesday night. But a couple of seasons ago, remember, he went away early in the season. Remember, we beat Rangers in the semi-final, and Ange let him go away to get a knee operation, I want to say.
Aye.
But yeah, and it's like, is this some sort of long-term effect of this injury? Does this maybe answer why we're not fending off offers for Carter Vickers every time a transfer window comes along? Maybe scouts have done their due diligence and looked at him and went, yeah, he's a great defender, but he seems to have an injury problem that is persistent. And with these games coming up, I mean, every game's important when you're Celtic, but yeah, in particular, we cannot be affording to lose him if this is going to be a recurring long-term injury, Liam.
Aye, well, it's funny. He's built more like an American football player than he is a Scottish football player as well. That might be part of it as well. He's like, when the first time I seen him, I thought he looks a bit heavy, looks a bit thick, and then you see that that's his makeup, right? And it might be one of the type of players where it's like the hips don't move right or something. Like, he's always got a funny way of, like, you don't see him bend his knees a lot, when he's passing the ball and stuff. It's always just sort of like a straight leg sort of thing. Yeah, I think he's been off this year as well. I mean, with him not being injured as well, you can see that there's something different about his game, and if he's playing through pain, we got to look like, we wouldn't have won the league with him that year, playing through that. He waited till we were done and clear and got the operation, and that's that's a good sacrifice as a player and as a team player and all that. We should look at that as well when, come to harsh decisions, whether we're ready to scrap them yet or no. I'm not saying they're saying that, but yeah, I think we're going to find out soon. Hopefully, it's just something that's niggling. It's just a bits of that thing clearing up where it's like, okay, the confidence is back there to fully test it, or the operation's not quite taken what it was supposed to do and done it.
Yeah, well, Graham Tyrrell's coming in, man in the know. Graham Tyrrell saying, we broken toe, no treatment, just rest. And below Jim C, oh no, Jim, what are you saying? What are you putting this out in the universe, mate? He says, I remember Mark Reaper, career ended due to a toe injury. Oh no, the wee emojis for the covering up the eyes, indeed. Yeah, oh no, he's put out there in the universe now. Oh no, that's bad.
Bob Marley died of that broken toe, and then it spread to some sort of infection and all that. In football, supposedly.
It's getting worse now. Talk about death. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's not too serious and Carter Vickers can be back soon because we do need him. It's interesting that you do pick up on his forum because the Bratislava game as well. His skills was excellent. There was a couple of moments where he did like a wee bit rocky, misjudging like the flight of the ball and whatnot, and he's usually so reliable, Carter Vickers. But there was a couple of shaky moments there. But even that said, he's still by far and away, the best defender at the club. But I just mentioned him there. Let's talk about Liam Scales because he's a guy that often two things usually feature on a Friday night. We talk about the upcoming game and the team that's going to be selected. Two names that usually get a few question marks where we go, there's obviously Greg Taylor, who we've addressed already tonight. But Liam Scales, there's been times last season where, of course, things started really well. Then I felt he hit a bit of a ceiling. I was beginning to wonder, when is the Liam Scales experiment going to end? When, surely we've reached that zenith now. But he's like a new man this season. I hate to say he's like a new signing, but genuinely, he has been playing like a man on a mission. And I guess a lot of it's to do with the fact that we signed a centre back at the tail end of the window, a left-sided one too, Liam. So he knows that, I could lose my place here. So suddenly it's no coincidence he's playing well. He got the man of the match against Bratislava, deservedly so. Scored a goal that night. Scored a goal on the opening day as well. He's been playing brilliantly. And he spoke volumes last week that, even if he was in that back line last week against Falkirk, I don't think we would have shipped the 2 goals that we lost, to be honest. But it's testament how well he's playing, man. And he's obviously going to be back in the team tomorrow. He'll be expected to play a leader's role in the centre-back position, I would imagine, because I'm going to take a stab. He's older than Austin Trusty. I've not actually checked it. In fact, the man who's good with ages and birthdays is Russell Bhoycie. Russell Bhoycie, is Liam Scales older than Austin Trusty? Do you know?
Fuck. I think they're very similar ages because I'm sure Liam Scales is older than Yankees. 26 he just turned, so bit the same.
Bit the same, aye. But welcome along. Sorry to hit you with a question right away about ages.
That's all right. Same age as me, I'm pretty sure.
There you go. How the devil are you, mate? How the devil are you?
Oh, jamming, man. Rock and roll Fridays, mate. I put a speaker on my wall tonight. I've done a wash. Played with the cat. That's about it.
It doesn't get any better than that, mate. That's peak Friday nights. Aye. Now you've come to join us, of course, come to join in the Friday night fun. So
why not? I couldn't resist when I was watching it. I just thought, fuck it.
Come on, mate. Yeah, exactly. Always welcome. Always
come
welcome.
On.
Yeah, come on. Get on here, mate. Get on.
How are you, Liam?
Good, mate. Good. Fucking rocking and rolling already tonight.
Oh, good, mate. Good. I'll catch up.
DCV being the next Bob Marley. That's what
it took a dark turn, to be fair. that chat took a bit of a dark turn. It went to a place I didn't expect it to. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. We've put it out there in the universe.
Will not happen.
But Liam, how do you feel then about Liam Scales' general form then this season, mate? It's been pretty good, man. Hopefully he continues it.
Ginger Maldini, isn't he? I mean, I think I said it before, like when I got hyped up the first time about him. And I never saw the big rap afterwards. I always thought he was hindered playing with Greg Taylor. That's what I thought. He was covering 2 positions at a time now. Now that his game's got better, Scales has got better as well too. That's why I still think that boy will improve with better players beside him. And that includes somebody better than CCV in that as well, or Hatate in front of him. Yeah, I think he's got everything. He's starting to show that given the opportunity, this guy can go and take it. And I like it and I expect him to be a leader tomorrow. He's been with the team, since the beginning of Ange, and so he's came through. I know he had 1 year away in Aberdeen. That might have done him a lot of good as well. We got to look at doing that. So that's another example of a player like Ryan Christie that's came back to a loan club and has done really, really well for us. Yep. So hopefully we'll see whoever we've got out there right now when they come back. But you got to give him a chance. And this boy's been given a chance, and I like the way he's developing it because he's got 2 European man of the matches and he was on the European Team of the Week.
He was in the Champions League Team of the Week. Liam Scales and Engels, I believe, were in that same team that night. Yeah, so he's doing brilliantly. And I think the fact that Austin Trusty's arrived is what has inspired him to pick up. But I do think, Russell, that it will be Scales and Trusty that will partner each other. Some people have been too much into those two left-sided centre-backs. First and foremost, just about defending and getting the ball clear. When it comes to what side they pass the ball with, I don't think that's the big issue here. Trusty last week, a few people were obviously critical of him. See, I think the whole back line were at fault for both goals. They all stood still waiting on a whistle coming that never came. Trusty's first game as well. I'm quite happy to forgive for a first game because they're just in the door. Bit of fitness maybe lacking or whatnot. But there were some other players, of course, last week who have been here for a lot longer. They definitely didn't win us over at all. So they've got no excuse. But in terms of Trusty and Scales, I'd expect that to be the centre-back pairing tomorrow. And I say I'm not too worried about they're both left-sided and whatnot after. I think that's not too much of an issue. As long as they can just tackle and get the ball clear, that's all that matters first and foremost for me, Russell.
No, I get you. I think it's a proper shootout for the position, though. I don't think Trusty coming in means that Liam Scales will be, demoted to third choice. I think it's a real shootout between those two. And to be honest with you, based on form this year, I'm pretty sure, as you say, about the two left-sided thing not being an issue, then Conor Carr will need to probably improve his form as well because he'll be in the conversation now, vying for that role. I don't understand the Nawrocki thing. When he didn't start that, I mean, I know Welsh got the new deal last year, but Nawrocki was kind of a decent investment Celtic-wise, about £4 million. Like it's unbelievable to think he's rated that poorly that at home to Falkirk even now, and even last season. I mean, injuries aside, he was not in contention to start football matches. And to be honest, from what I've seen of him, I thought there's maybe something to work with there. Lagerbielka was never sold on, but it seems like he's actually was, I don't know, maybe even further down the pecking order than Gustav and Welsh, which was quite remarkable to have got it that miles off. Me and Mark were talking last night about the head of recruitment thing and all that. I mean, it just tells you that whoever recruited the players last summer, them and Brendan just didn't even have a conversation before any one of those signings, I don't think. Then that doesn't work. But in terms of Trusty coming in at £6 million, that doesn't now, I don't think, in this hopefully new era of Celtic, who've got a bit of a focus shift on Europe, I don't think that now means you just walk in at the team based on that. Yeah. And as you said, rightfully, 2 man of the matches in the Champions League for Scales already. And how many games he played in it? 7?
Yeah, he would have played all the games last season. I think he did play in every one of the group games. Yeah.
Good luck ousting that. And as I say, I mean, the proper competition is probably now a 3-way fight for 2 roles. I don't think Cameron Carter-Vickers is as cemented in the back line as maybe we always thought for the last few years. I don't think his form merits that. And I don't think Scales' form merits just being dropped based on a new arrival. I think it should be a fair square go, if you like, for that jersey.
100-metre square goal was it you said last week, Liam?
That's how I said it. Too good last week. Too good.
It was class. 100-metre square goal between Maeda and Kuhn, wasn't it? Nicholas Kuhn, aye. But that's what, guys, you're talking about Nawrocki as well. Like, I put that question to both of you. What, from you've seen, has he done wrong? I know Brendan sees him every day in training, right? So he's obviously better positioned to judge it. But it does baffle me because us fans, we can only judge it on what we see in the game. And I know there'll be certain fans out there that will judge spreadsheets and whatnot. But again, the eye test to me shows that the Nawrocki wasn't that bad. I can't think of many criminal moments where it's like, oh, he's terrible, get him out of here. Bielka, I agree, there was some moments as well. Like, I know the goal got disallowed at Ibrox, but that one came the first game at Ibrox last season where we beat them 1-0. They obviously scored a goal and it got disallowed, but the whole kerfuffle came from Bielka dwelling on the ball for too long, not making his mind up how quickly he wanted to get the ball away. But yeah, the Nawrocki though, I just didn't see anything, Liam, that suggested to me, oh, this guy's terrible. But again, Brendan is the manager. He sees him every day. He decides, obviously. But it's baffling that, he is the fifth choice out of 4 centre-backs and one of them being Stephen Welsh. It's a mental decision. But hey, what do we know, Liam?
I don't know. I mean, that's a standard fallback, isn't it? It's like we don't see him in training and all that. But you see him in highlight reels and you see him on the park, and you're right. Other than that one slip-up against Majovsky, seen the great Stevie G have a slip-up, with much more consequences. He's still got another game, So I think it's really unfair on him to... I don't know. It's puzzling why he's not kept, because I watched him with League of Warsaw. He was one of the players when we were getting him. So, okay, well, that's coming for a team with a fan base similar to theirs that have big expectations on their teams. You're not going to be able to, hide and, that on the park and all that. And he came with a really good pedigree for that team. I think
remember, Liam, as well, we speculated at the time because of the fee, this might be Brendan's first signing. That's got that was the sort of narrative at the time because of the money involved, but obviously
and he did one European campaign behind him as well, in Champions League as well with him. So it's like, okay, so we've got a guy everybody sort of cry out for. It's like, somebody with Champions League experience, somebody in that sort of price range as well, but somebody that comes from a team in a league. Okay, Polish league, Legia Warsaw is a team probably similar in standards to us, maybe a bit lower right now. But at that sort of time, we thought we were on par with them. I mean, we played them in Europe before, and he always gave us trouble. And well, I think we only got through with some admin errors, against them last time.
Yes, we did. Yes, that was a substitute that came on in the last 30 seconds of the game, and it got them kicked out of the tournament, which I think it was twice in a matter of years we got a reprieve. There was a Sion one as well a few years before. It was a strange time how we kept getting these backdoor entries at the European competitions. There's obviously now we've spoke on the defence, so let's move on to the midfield, because there's a guy in the middle of the park. I know we're going to be talking about the St Johnstone game, but obviously we've got to keep an eye on Dortmund, and this is a real conundrum, Russell, for Brendan, because most of us thought with the European game last week, against Bratislava, I was in the camp that I thought Bernardo would have started that, because to me, one of the biggest problems Celtic have got in Europe over the years is giving the ball away cheaply and losing a goal, a sucker punch or counter-attack, whatever. So Hatate, for all the good things he does, he can give the ball away quite a bit. But obviously Hatate started against Bratislava and he played pretty well. He was involved in most of the play. He was involved, in fact, in Maeda's goal. Him, Kyogo and Maeda all linked up. But obviously now we're coming up against Dortmund on Tuesday night, and it's going to be, to put it lightly, a bit different to how Bratislava went. This truly is a game where you cannot give away the ball cheaply, because they will hurt us. And with tomorrow against St Johnstone, do you think Brendan's going to have an eye on Tuesday night? Does Bernardo come in tomorrow to start and keep his place for Tuesday night? Does Hatate play both games? Is he going to surprise us? Because I can't help but feel that Brendan will definitely have to be thinking about Tuesday night. So Johnston, I think regardless, I think we'll still beat St Johnstone wherever we play. But I think the manager will definitely be looking to that game and think about it. Maybe it'll be a case of Hatate starts, Bernardo comes on, or vice versa tomorrow, depending on the situation we find ourselves. But in terms of the midfield, obviously Engels and McGregor, they're going to be nailed on. Engels has proved that he's a cut above right now, and McGregor's a captain. But that other jersey, you're talking there about a shootout between, the centre-backs. There's definitely a shootout there between those midfields. But again, is it one of these cases, Russell, it's the horses for courses type thing, depending on who the opposition is? Is that what's going to determine it?
100%. I think I'd said I would have played Bernardo if it were me picking the team against Bratislava, but I think Brendan would go... Or I said I would pick Hatate, sorry, because I think we needed that creativity, that unpredictable. We needed to unlock the door. We needed to be as aggressive on the ball as we can. We needed someone to take more risks. I think Bernardo definitely plays this time around away to Dortmund. And that's how I would do it. I think in games that you feel you've got a chance or you need to take the initiative, I think Atati's ideal for that. I think away from home, I think Bernardo would be someone that you would favour in those sort of fixtures. But it's a great problem. Like, it's a great issue to have. This is what we all champion, or we've all been championing for years. And one of the most important things as well, I remember the term that we used in the bus a couple of years ago when Posta called, play the fixture. Mm-hmm. Don't just play your own, as if like it doesn't matter who we play, we just do this. I think sometimes you need to play the fixture as well. And I certainly think that will be in mind. But there's two ways this weekend you can look at it. I mean, if Bernardo starts, is that to what? Get him settled in at the starting 11 for midweek? If he doesn't start and he's on the bench, is that just to keep him wrapped up and ready to go on Wednesday? So I'm not going to read too much into the start lineup. Will he have one eye on? Of course he will. He'll have an eye on the Dortmund game. But notwithstanding that, I think it'd be easy to look into it at the weekend. Oh, that means this. Or I don't think it'll work like that. But in terms of the shootout that you're talking about in the midfield battle, I think for this type of game, Bernardo. Atalanta away, Bernardo. I think then your home games, which we all know we have a fair chance of getting points in, I think you'd lean more towards a Hatate. But again, by the time they come around, form will play a big part, injuries will play a big part. You might not have the luxury of picking between them. But at this moment in time, I think it'll be Bernardo who'll start. And he's another one who already looks like his levels have elevated, very similar to Kuhn. Who I seen last season, you could tell there's talent, there's ability. This year, it just looks, far more all round. And it looks like it'll be far more consistent from both him and Kuhn. And I think that's what you're seeing, the evolution of the team, is the growth of players like that who you maybe didn't expect, or no one was buzzing. For example, we were signing Bernardo, I don't think.
I mean, I was impressed. He was a competent player. He showed last season he's definitely got something, but I wasn't ecstatic. Like, oh my god, this is a game-changing transfer. This is a real statement transfer. It was like, well, it's a steady hand. He proved last season he can come in. He's very, very competent. But I wasn't like, oh, I'm absolutely this is the signing that's going to be key to our success this season. But no, he's definitely his levels have elevated, no doubt about it. And I'm also glad that you brought up that it's a good headache to have, because one of my biggest pet hates, and it's been consistent for a few years now, is about there are certain players, we can't upset them. Oh no, we can't upset them. Upset them, make them have competition, make other players be breathing down their neck, thinking I could take your jersey at any point, because it keeps the players sharp. And it's like nobody should be getting a free ride right now. We need to win everything. We need to win trebles, doubles, whatever. We need to make sure we keep winning the league consistently. That is the biggest prize right away. So it's like, no, I want players to be, fearing that they might lose their place, instead of this whole mollycoddling type idea. Oh, we can't upset him. Oh, we don't want him to be upset. It's like, no. See, this is the vibes you want the manager to have. We moaned last season about the signings that came in. 9 signings we signed last summer. How many of them were consistently in the first team as the season went on? By the time we got to the end of the season
as well, Phil, social media, if you get linked to a player, or you say, oh, we should be going all out to get him, and it might be a bit of an ambitious move in terms of fees or whatever, the quick reply you'll get from all the happy clappers will be, who does he replace? Like, it's not how football works now. It's not about who does it. It's such a stupid attitude that, who's placing the team? Well, he instantly takes sort of the vibe, and you're like, it's a squad game. Do you know what I mean? And if he doesn't, eventually take anyone's place, brilliant, because that'll mean whoever's role he's competing with, they've elevated their game to higher standard as well. It's a win-win. But I've never understood that argument. I think it's sentimental birthday card pish.
Yeah. James Forrest and Patrick Roberts the first time around when Brendan was in charge, you saw the way they two elevated each other. And of course, Liam, an example that we've pointed to plenty of times on the bus, Russell's mentioned so many times, his favourite era of Celtic, the Martin O'Neill era. We had 3 strikers for 2 positions, Hartson, Sutton and Larson. I know social media was their thing back then, but see if you're in the pub or anything, did you see anybody going, oh, what are we signing John Hartson for? Chris Sutton's going to be unhappy about that. No, of course not. The 2 of them, all 3 of them, every combination we put together, Liam, they 3, it always did the job. They were always keeping each other sharp as well, because they're top class players, and that's the headaches you want the manager to have. You want him to be sitting down to do his team sheet the night before the game and going, get a real conundrum here. How am I going to solve this one? Because it keeps people sharp. But yeah, it is what Russell says there. Bit of birthday card piss, really, isn't it?
I think it's sentimentality amongst players. That's my Greg Taylor fucking conundrum, right? Is the problem like he's 90 minutes a game? Whereas if you're looking at what happens when you're complacent, yeah, he's good. He's settled into a winning team, but when it goes against him, he's not the one that's going to show up. I want to see the players battling. I would look at, as Russell says, well, play the fixture, right? You play the fixture in this one. I'd give Hatate 55 minutes and Bernardo 35. You know, if he's not cutting it by half time, just give him the full second half. But let those players fight it out, but give them the opportunity to battle. And then if it is one of those things where you want to see who shows up, judge it on that. Don't have a guy burst the net twice and come back and say, but I'm going to start Hatate anyway or something, you know. And I think fans like that as well too. Fans like it when you can tell that there's pressure on our player to perform and do something good. I think that's why it worked in O'Neill's team, because all three of those guys were box office even before they came to Celtic.
Yeah.
And so
they'll back themselves. That's what it's about.
You know, I want to see them. I want to see who's willing to give all of it against St. Johnstone to get a start in Germany in the European Champions League. You know.
Yeah, it's it's a good headaches you want the manager to have, and yeah, he's going to have big decisions to make, and definitely. That's what he's paid for. That is what he's paid his wage for.
Definitely, I think just on the attack thing, Liam's saying about the 55 minutes. My honest opinion is, I think attacking the Champions League is a risk-reward player.
Yeah,
he'll take more risks on the ball. Some won't come off, some will. And I think there's games that will be definitely what's required. I think it'll be a more measured sort of approach from a Bernardo, for example, when he's on the ball, who won't be as risky. I think someone said in the comments, his creativity is underrated. It's not really the point. I think you compare him with Hatate, it's undeniable that ball retention-wise, Hatate's not one of those guys. He'll go for the, if it comes off, killer pass, I don't think they're the same that way. I think there'll be certain fixtures for needing that risk-reward strategy from Hatate. And I think this Wednesday won't be one.
Yeah, I've seen earlier on to Liam, there's one of those games that's got the potential to be a hiding behind the couch type scenario, like Atletico Madrid last season. And yeah, we can't be affording to give the ball away cheaply. Every player has to be on it from minute one. We cannot do what I always say, Russell, Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe where it's a red card, it's a cheap penalty, it's an own goal, it's a deflection. We very seldom concede goals where you sit back and go, some strike that, by the way. It's always an absolute shiter of a goal that we always concede. So it's like we need to get away from that, and giving away a cheap ball would obviously result in us getting punished,
Yes, but it's interesting what you're saying as well about the behind the couch analogy, because you start these games behind the couch normally. I don't think anyone will be this week.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone starts this one from behind the couch. You know what I mean? I think that's been, Mark's a great example where he didn't even want the tickets.
Yeah.
This year, snapped him up. So I don't think people be, watching the first goal going, and it probably will, right? But I think you'll watch it from behind the couch. You might end up behind the couch as the game progresses. I think we're starting the game with a hell of a lot more optimism in this type of fixture than we have done in recent times in the Champions League. And that counts for something, I think.
It's definitely a feel-good atmosphere. There definitely is. The momentum that we've had since pre-season. Compared to, say, you go back a year, Russell, and look at this time last year, I think we'd been knocked out by Killie in the League Cup. We dropped some silly points against teams like St Johnstone. The football wasn't really clicking. We were getting by, and I think we were extending our lead over Rangers at this point. It's quite a similar lead, I think, we had at this stage of the season, but the football just wasn't really great. And then when we hit the middle of the season, it seemed to just nosedive. And it was only in the tail end when things began to, whatever Brendan was trying to implement, began to sink in. But look at it now, a year later, and the way the team's playing, every game you're excited to watch, because there were points last season where it did feel a bit like a chore at times because you didn't know what was going to turn up.
Last week, Phil. Last week, I don't think we win that 5-2. I don't think we win that last week. I think potentially get the draw. But after going behind twice, I think this time last year,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we
Dodgy.
navigate that in the manner that we just did. I'm not even sure we would win it, to be honest.
Yeah, it would have been touch and go. I say, well, look how we meekly went out of the League Cup a year ago to Kilmarnock. We barely even got a shot on target in that game. I don't think we even did register a shot on target. So it just shows you the difference now. And yeah, Liam, it was at times last season a bit of a chore, but no, it's exciting now. And this is what you want. This box office Brendan. This is what we remember from the first season when he was in charge. It's got that vibe about it again. Could they go invincible again? A bit too early to say. Don't want to get too far ahead in that sense, but it is good again to just, every game coming along, you're just excited compared to a year ago, Liam.
I still yet to concede a goal in the league as well, so
yeah,
they've got that to play for. Sometimes that's an added pressure, but pressure's a good thing. Yeah, and I think we go out there flying. We go there and we just kind of keep the momentum going, so that when we go in, we're here to Germany on Wednesday night. We've still got that. Players are still up for it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Parking the couch in front of the net. I mean, that's not an option. Just got to say them, especially if we don't have CCV. He's a very good shot blocker that as well, and he's good at getting the wee, the tackles in that before they get into the box.
Yeah.
If it's Stephen Walsh in there, yeah, I'll be able to tell in the first 5 minutes when they come out and attacking us how we respond as a team and how tight we're going to be about using that system of how we play it out for the back and getting some positive results. So,
no, the thing is, one thing that's going to be crucial. Oh, you go, Russell. On you go, mate.
I was just going to say, I think the Falkirk game, though, in a way, has prepared us for this Champions League sort of campaign better than most, because it was a team that's had a go against us.
Mm-hmm.
And we've faced adversity in it as well, which means going behind twice. These are things you would expect to happen in the Champions League, albeit I'm not saying it's the mighty Falkirk by any stretch, but the way they played and the aggression on the ball that they had and the sort of the front foot style that they had, and the fact they led against us twice, I think has given us better prep for these tricky next, very, very difficult, I should say, couple of away fixtures we've got in the Champions League. So I think that will stand us in good stead. Adversity was my biggest issue last season. I didn't think we built from positions of strength. If we took an early lead, we seemed to take the foot off the gas. But if we conceded an early goal and we went behind, it really seemed to affect us last year. That was a prime example this weekend of another sort of shift you're seeing, not just in style of play, but maybe in the mentality as well.
Oh, without a doubt, it was the CD thing will put you in good stead. But one of the things that will be very, very crucial for that game, and again tomorrow we could use it, or we could get a clue from the starting lineup. Is obviously when we're not going to make many chances against Dortmund. It's going to be a case if we come up with a chance, we have to take it. But of course, keeping the ball up in the final third is crucial. So how do we go about it? And that is the other conundrum, I think, in the team over the next two games is Adam Eder that starts after scoring 2 last week. He now currently has more goals than Kyogo this season. And Kyogo's a really strange one, Russell, in the sense that obviously he scored against Bratislava. He was at the right place at the right time. Did miss a couple of chances as well in the game, but he was there when it mattered and he bundled into the net. But the goal he scored against Rangers, that's when that goal happened, the way he pulled that off, it's like he's got no right to shoot there and score the way he did. It just felt like, how has he even fought to do that, the way he's pulled that off? But then he's missing really easy chances. It's a weird thing going on with Kyogo where he can miss a real gilt-edged chance, but then do something like that. But right now, as it stands, Adam Eder has more goals, although it's 3-2. I mean, there's not exactly much in it, to be honest. But next week, Tuesday, and obviously St Johnstone tomorrow, bit of a clogger team. Does Adam Eder start tomorrow to get him, to keep that momentum going after last week? Does he keep his place on Tuesday? Again, it's like the Tati Bernardo thing. I think away from home in Europe, in my mind, it would always be a case of you're going to have to keep the ball up in the final third. So in my head, the prototypical thing to do would be put the big guy up there. But there has been games in the past that I've seen where I've been convinced that when we had Giakoumakis, for example, bigger guy, I was like, Giakoumakis will start this game and then Kyogo would play and score. And it's like, again, what do I know? But the next two games are going to be intriguing, and that battle between Eder and Kyogo. And again, like I said earlier on, it's one of those ones again where, we can't upset Kyogo. And it's like, no, do upset Kyogo. Have Adam Eder really pressure him. It'll keep him sharp. It'll make him realise that my place in the team is in danger here. And Adam Eder will be thinking the same thing. again, competition visa. But the next couple of games, it's going to be interesting. How would you be leaning towards this one with Kyogo and the Ida debate, and how would you tackle this one? With who you go with?
Well, I think if we're playing the fixture, I think then Adam Ida would be the person I would pick.
Mm.
The one thing is, I mean, it's only fans that you see on Twitter and stuff like that worrying about Kyogo. Brendan will have absolutely no concerns whatsoever that he's 25 grand a week striker's a wee bit disappointed he's not starting away from home in a Champions League game. I think, and it's was the one-time record Celtic signing, albeit only for a matter of weeks. But as the guy who's starting in his place, it's irrelevant, the Cougar thing. For me, that's a fan thing, not a Celtic thing. Again, I think it'll be a case of play the fixture. And I think when I look at that, Adam Ida's probably better suited, unless there is a tactical sort of tweak.
Mm-hmm.
And it is Dortmund will fancy it. They'll play a high back line, because they're going to want to be the dominant team in the ball. They want to win it back early and already be in dangerous positions with the ball as fast as they can.
Yep.
And Kyogo's got the pace, the fantastic moving that he's got. He bamboozles teams. He doesn't always score the obvious ones. You're absolutely right. Maeda doesn't always put in a obvious easy cross, and then he'll pull off a difficult one. I think there's a bit of that madness to him, but it could be that whilst Ida can hold up the ball a lot, if you're pinned back in, there's only so long you can hold it up for, then you need an option. Yeah. So we'll need to get out really quick, and then that can leave you exposed yourself. He might look at it and go, Kyogo's movement doesn't warrant, or doesn't, get the goals it deserves in Scotland, such as the sort of deep sort of defensive units that he's up against. Whereas against Dortmund, their home fans expect them to play against Celtic the way we played against Bratislava. No disrespect to us, but I think that is a game that they go 3 points tick. We want to be aggressive, we want to dominate the ball, and we'll be playing, very much so as the team who's taking charge of this game. Kyogo's a different dynamic in behind that, mate. Kyogo in behind, Maeda in behind, Kuhn, wherever one goes, the pace that those three have might be a weapon that Rodgers chooses to utilise instead of someone who can buy you time to get out, which I think I get we've done in the past. But Rodgers might go or the flip side is, if you've got a guy who can hold it up like Ida, such as the pace of your two wingers, he won't need to hold it up for as long, because they'll have caught up with play much quicker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a brilliant. These are the conversations that we've been absolutely screaming for in the bus for 2 years. And when we had them with Giakoumakis, there was a bit of bias to Giakoumakis from myself. I don't deny that. But I think you've seen that dip when he left, and not just the competition for a striker's role at Celtic, which should never be taken for granted, but suddenly in Kyogo's form. It all adds up to me, Liam. You know what I mean?
Aye. By the way, O scored a cracker through the week for his new club.
I've seen that. And it'll all get twisted into fucking look what we've lost. Fuck off. You know what I mean?
I think with me, Russell, Phil, I'd go with Kyogo up front. I think this is a big game, and I think he adds more to that front three. I think the front three is better when it's Kyogo, Maeda, and Kuhn. And I think that sort of the acceleration each of the players, the fact that they're all rapid, they've all got that's like three hunters up there, and I think they'll give those German defence nightmares. And that
play devil's advocate, Liam, though. You get that opportunity at 0-0. That one where you go, what's the percentage chances of a striker scoring? I think you lean with Ida more than Kyogo, and I think that could influence the decision making as well.
I don't know, but I don't know if you see Ida getting that same spot or that same space as Kyogo to get that chance. You look at Ida's chances are a lot different when Kyogo, as you said, he can make something out of nothing.
They're not that different. I don't think this season. I think the goals are similar styles.
What?
I think the goals they've scored, the goals that have been scored so far, aren't too different. He might rely on the two creative folk and then go, it's a toss up. Who do I fancy to get on the end of them and be ice? I think probably Ida leans that way in Rodgers' thinking, but I do agree with you. I'm just putting it out there, the alternative. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think you know, I think Ida gives us an aerial threat as well. So for free kicks and stuff like that, you're probably looking at advantage that. And if that's, you know, in Champions League games, free kicks is a very important part of it. You know, the corners and the free kicks, you know, and the fact that we're actually starting to score for some of them now, you know, shows as well that we are adjusting to that. I think Ida's better than that, but just for the ground play and the style of playing like that high press, I'd go with Kyogo. That'd be my pick.
I totally get it. I think it's fascinating though. The two conundrums is that high price still occurs if you've got Maida and Kuhn. Those guys are electric paced and with a proper work ethic. Maida's now the strange label he's now got as the best presser in world football. We'll run with it. You know, if our rivals are the most successful club in world football, we'll run with having the best presser off the ball at world football in Maida. And then Kuhn, obviously, he's came alive. We talked about him earlier. I just wonder if Kyogo had his chances last year. You need to remember that as well. Rodgers will, have a long memory. And he'll feel there's moments where he didn't have a killer that he thinks he would back in those situations. And I also think sometimes ego plays a part. And you want to be justified in convincing a board you paid $9.5 million for someone. And also, to be fair with Ida, he has this knack of influencing outcomes when it matters.
He does.
As much as it was Falkirk.
Yeah.
Forget it was Falkirk. He is in a game we were up against it, he influences big outcomes. And I wonder if that type of just sometimes stardust players have at the right club. I'm not saying he said it everywhere he's been. Just sometimes that knack, and then you go, I just fancy him to do it. I always think of Samaras in Europe.
Samaras, one of my favourites. Yep.
You look at you could watch him at the weekend. This game in particular coming up this weekend, you wouldn't fancy that. You would be interested.
Right,
but Europe, Lenny, just look at it and go. But my memory tells me these type of games, you just come alive, and you've got the personality and the clinical sort of side to you as well, where you'll deal with it. I wonder about that. I think it'll be Ida, if I'm honest. But I see the strengths in both arguments. And who I would pick, I think Kyogo probably I would go for that first half, try and blow them away in the counter. And the three musketeers at that pace would be terrifying. Once you see them once getting behind, say they don't score. They're now aware. If you did that in the opening 5 minutes, say score or don't score, suddenly their press that they want to play in this dominating sort of style they want to play in our half kind of has second thoughts to it. That's not a bad thing either. And then I don't know. I think you'll go for Ida, but I see the strengths of both arguments. And this, as I've always said, is what we want to be talking about at Celtic.
Well, a word that we use a lot on the bus. Our favourite word on the bus, compelling, Russell. It's certainly compelling deciding on who it's going to be, Ida, Kyogo. There are strong arguments for both. You've put them across. You've articulated it brilliantly there with the points you've made about especially the balls in behind. Dortmund are going to be on the front foot. They're going to have high demands to brush us aside. So you never know. We could catch them out somewhere, and Kyogo's the guy for that. And then for under the cosh, Ida is the guy to hold the ball up there. So it's fantastic. This is what we want going into these types of games. And I think tomorrow, with the way the game plays out and with the lineup and whatnot, I think we'll get a few clues. I don't know what affect him later in the season. There's that thing again.
That worries me. AGSC Tech. And I want, Liam, you are well versed in the world. You know what adversity looks like. You know what experience looks like. You know what ups and downs look like. I know that for a fact. AGSC Tech comes in. I'm not saying it's because it's his view, but this is how he's he's looking at it as a potential scenario. You can't say to Kyogo, no, you're not starting at Dortmund because I worry how that would affect him later in the season. That can't come into it. This is, if we want to be Celtic and you want a new contract on fucking bumper wages, which he got, then you have to be like that level that your contract first and foremost warrants, let alone the club you're playing for warrants, let alone the competition that you're in warrants. You have to be a big boy. He's 30 in January, Kyogo. That can't even be brought into consideration, Liam. Tell me, you're from a school where these sort of situations, it might be shite at the time. You got to dust yourself off and come back better, don't you?
Every single time you got to do that. But I don't think Kyogo's in a bad place right now. And I don't think sitting him out is going to affect him in any way. That's football. You got to be a man. Come on, you're not always going to get game time, even though you expect it and that. I think a lot of people project this stuff onto Kyogo just because he's seen as a wee sort of happy, playful type of guy. And so some
toddler,
they're putting these like characteristics on him when he's never came across as anything but a professional. I mean, he's happy and he's cute and all that, and it's like, but it might just be a cultural thing, or it might just be him and he's like that. But I think he's every sense a professional, and I think he's every sense. He's an assassin the way he plays as well. He's got an edge to him that is really good. It's always been there as well. You've seen it when guys have been taking liberties with him. He's got a wee nasty side. He's got a wee kick in him every now and again.
Nah, he does the fake apologies so fast that folk don't realise it.
And he punishes you as well. He'll punish you as well by putting on your arse and making you look daft. Now, I think the players that are in form, you play the players to win every game that's in front of you. And you don't worry about the personalities of the makeup. If you're involved in football and you're a professional and that's what you've signed up for, like I work on set, there's people like, the camera department, stuff like guys are handing $80,000 lens to each other. You're going to see some harsh words if you're not doing that properly. And so your feelings don't come into it. Nobody's getting paid for their feelings. You're getting paid for your expertise and your professionalism. And that's expected, not just Kyogo, but every player on the team.
It's a team game as well.
I totally agree with that.
Team game, so you've got to accept that it's a squad game.
I don't mind him. See this? I worry how that would affect him. Why would you be worried how it would affect him? I mean, but I don't mean this is the AJSC. I think he's basing it on the sort of impression you've maybe got of what Kyogo's personality is like. See, for me, I would like it to affect him. I want him pissed off.
Yeah.
I want him going, fuck you, I'm better than you. I should have started that game. I don't care that Celtic beat Dortmund 5-0 away. I should have been playing. We'd have beaten them 10. But I think in general, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to feel a sinking feeling in your stomach when you realise something, in the football industry, like you're not in the team sheet. That's all right. That's not a bad thing. You can't be wrapped in cotton wool. And, anyone who thinks, Ida wouldn't have earned it or anything like that, Kyogo's had a run at Europe at Celtic. What's his record like in Europe at Celtic? Is it fantastic?
Not particularly. No.
I struggle to see Brendan remotely looking at how it makes Kyogo feel. And I'm pretty sure he's good enough with the words, sort of, the Jedi mind tricks to make Kyogo feel okay, even if he doesn't play. And by the way, imagine a defence that's been sort of jostling with Ida, proper physical battle. The other two guys getting in behind time and time again, even if some are offside, making those defenders run. Because remember, you don't get flagged straight away now.
That's right.
Play plays out. So you've been turned around chasing your tail off, and then Kyogo's movement comes on, bamboozles you from what he's coming on for. There's a weapon in itself as well. I can't feel sorry for guys on £25,000-30,000 a week who, sit on the Champions League bench for a club like Celtic because the other guy is preferred for a fixture, not forever, for a game. Wipe the tears away. And I'd like to think he wouldn't be like that either.
I don't think Brendan does sentimentality. I just get the impression he's got a very ruthless streak in him. He comes across very civilised and formal. He's always very good with interviews and that. But I think behind the scenes, I don't think he gets angry and really aggressive in the dressing room, but I think he's got a very ruthless streak in him. And he will not let these types of things influence him in his decision. It will be what is the best. Yeah, first and foremost, you've got to. They say on Tuesday night, we're not going to get much in the way of chances, and if a chance does fall our way, we have to take it. we can't be afford to be missing them, blazing them over the bar from 5 yards out and whatnot. We need to make sure we put the ball in the net because they're going to be few and far between. But yeah, obviously when Tuesday night comes, me, David and Regan will probably be on before that one because the Tuesday ticket will be the preview show for that one. We'll have the lineup then and there, and we'll be able to discuss what Brendan has chosen and dissect it from there, and just start praying that it all comes to fruition on when the game plays out. But of course, first and foremost, tomorrow then we need to deal with St Johnstone first. I do think we'll get a lot of clues tomorrow with the lineup and how we play. Well, I think that we're going to have an eye on Tuesday night. So I think these two games are going to sort of play into each other. The momentum, obviously, very, very important to keep it going. I think we will keep the momentum going against St Johnstone. Liam can see us brushing them aside. They are managerless just now. So I think we go up there. I think we win by 3. I think it'll be a pretty comfortable day at the office for us. Will we finally concede a goal in the league?
Have they appointed a new manager yet?
No. Apparently, they're linked with the boy who took over as a caretaker at Aberdeen. So they've went for Craig Levine, and I believe this guy's name is Levine or Levin or something, a very similar name. So it's quite interesting that they'll go for Craig Levine to this guy, but he was in charge of Aberdeen as a caretaker when we played them in the Cup semi-final last season. Is it Peter Leven, I think his name is? He was the caretaker manager, so I think he is the favourite at the moment for the St Johnstone job. After Scott Brown apparently didn't want it this week. So there we go. But yeah, Liam, I think we go up there and I think we brush them aside. I Peter 11 that is there. What about yourself, Liam? Pretty easy victory in the end?
Yeah, I'm going for 4-0 again. 4-0, and I want to see a battle. I want to see a battle between Hatate and Bernardo, see who's going to start. I want to see Ida and Kyogo as well. Let's get the fans. Let's go out and prove away from home. All right, who's going to be in that team in Germany? Let's earn it. Earn it against St Johnstone. One game at a time.
And Russell Graham Tyrrell's asking, will there be a PMP after St Johnstone? I may just watch that first before watching the replay of the game. If so, I'd imagine.
There definitely will be. There definitely will be. Like I say, this season at times, there's not going to be like a regimented fucking schedule all the time where it's like a Falkirk League Cup. Obviously, it turned out to be an epic game, and I was kind of kicking myself with the PMP scenario, but I kind of made my mind, fuck that the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, I only get 2 days off as well. I want my balls off through the week. Do you know what I mean? So, this time around, yes, there'll be a PMP after St Johnstone.
I think more the excitement is earlier in the night. There was a comment about how Blitz Terry will be because it's a Saturday night game. So I think that's more the excitement here. Sorry to put a damper on it, Russell. It's not you that they want to see. They want to see Terry in an interesting state on Tuesday and Saturday night. What do you take Terry for, by the way, honestly?
What time's kick-off Saturday? 5:30?
5:45. It's a nighttime game, an evening game. Yeah.
Saturday night.
Premier
challenge accepted.
Okay.
I'm pretty lively on a Saturday, like, you know what I mean? I do well when it's 3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday, to be honest with you.
There's Graham Tyrrell saying
by 5 p.m. on a Saturday. I hope so. I hope so. He talks more sense when he's drunk. No. He comes on when he's like clean shaven. He's been off the fucking drink and all that. And you're don't fancy the day, man. He comes on, he looks like, Roy Keane, but if he hadn't made it at Man United. And I don't mind that. Once that optics out in the first 5-minute opening conversation, I'm like, now we're talking. This is what you want. But I will be doing PMP tomorrow night. And I'm the same as Liam. I envisage a comfy win. I don't know about 4-0, but I think it'll be very comfortable. I think the competition will have only got fiercer by the time it comes to team selection Wednesday, if Brendan hasn't already sort of got that kind of set in his mind. But I think we look right now, back to sort of that era where maybe Ange had it in I think the middle of his term. See, his 2 years. I think like the first 6 months, obviously not so much. But I think there was a 12-month period. The second half of his first season and the first half of his second season. Yeah. I think we're in that territory right now, form-wise. And for St John's to be managerless, or if Peter's leaving, staying, whatever he is, I think that'll be a comfortable one, man.
Yeah, I think so as well. And of course, the crucial thing is Rangers don't play till Sunday. They play Hibs. Aberdeen, I think they'll play before us tomorrow. But again, as good as Aberdeen are doing this season, I don't envision them being the team that we need to. Will be chasing us down. I think that will get to a point, and then they'll hit their
I
ceiling.
don't know, man. We've said that. Like, or probably thought that all of us over the years. I think they finished third second the first 2 seasons. Rangers were back in the top flight.
They did. Aye, that's right.
And they never started either of those seasons with 10 wins out of 10 in all comps or whatever it's up to now, 11 or whatever it is. You're like, I don't know, man. Like, once you get that momentum built, it's hard to fucking shake it. You know what I mean?
Well, in fairness on what you're saying there, the last time a team outside of Celtic and Rangers had a start like that, it was Hearts in 2005, and they did finish second that season. They did finish second.
But they sacked the manager for that shit.
I know they did.
Remember that George Billy got sacked after, I think it was 11 games, 10 wins and a draw with Celtic. Get him out. Fuck off.
That was their downfall. They went fucking pear-shaped after that.
Bizarre.
But I don't know. Aberdeen, like, somebody posted their fixtures and who they've actually played. And it's all been lower and bottom level teams, and they've had more home games and all that as well. And that very quickly for them, So we'll see how they are. But I'm enjoying it just that it's no Rangers, It's nice to just sort of give them even more anxiety going into a game because they're not just chasing us, chasing Aberdeen.
Aye, definitely. But it's not just that, though. See, the argument you just used there, though, what we've all agreed on in the bus is when we go into Dortmund away and Atlanta away, the reason we've got a percentage or so more of a chance is because of the confidence we got for beating someone like Bratislava.
Aye.
So if you've had the easier fixture in our case, not fixtures, and you've tanked them, your confidence levels are up. So Aberdeen go into these trickier fixtures, but with this background of 10, 11 wins in the spin, they go in better prepared and mindset-wise fucking up there for those trickier fixtures. So they've got a more of a chance than ever of actually getting results in those two. Dangerous side when they click. They're not dangerous to us, but I think league-wise, I think they're ones that when Aberdeen are all fully sort of in sync. Definitely got to not underestimate them in terms of, being better than Rangers.
Well, we'll get our test against them the first game after the next international break, the October international break. We play Aberdeen after that at Celtic Park. I think, actually, I've not seen the full fixture list. I think Rangers' first match with Aberdeen this season will be at Pittodrie, which is interesting. So that could be a tough place to go. Luckily for us, we're playing them at Celtic Park twice in the first 3 set of fixtures. So, so for that benefits us. But I think Rangers will get 2 trips to Pittodrie in amongst their fixtures. We'll see if it keeps it exciting. Keeps you on your toes. We're talking about players needing competition. You've got extra competition if you're Aberdeen, so it keeps Celtic on their toes. But
good luck to them as well. Do you know what I mean? I've never had a bad vibe to Aberdeen as a Celtic fan, to be honest. Never. I don't mind them like being a bit of strong competition, and like I kind of predicted on the bus, Stephen Naismith at Hearts.
Away you go.
We knew he'd be gone, but I told you that. I mean, there was no way he was hanging there. I think they didn't want to sack him after the Celtic game. Probably a bit of the Hugo sentimentality coming in there.
Maybe it was. Aye, maybe it was. Aye,
he was always going though. I mean, I seen him in that beige T-shirt match day 1, just looking like a fanny, like he was just out of USC. Do you know what I mean? Like in the Boxing Day sales, just look like a dick. Like, just be a manager. You're like you've had 1 season under your belt. Now you think you can just dress, like a wee like shite fashion, but you know what I mean. Like, just wear the Hearts tracky. Just stay in your lane.
Like, who manages a team and then shaves your head? It's usually the players shave their head and then they grow their hair back when they're the manager. He's got it back to front.
Nah, speaking from experience, Liam, I can testify that when you manage a team, you sometimes do get your head shaved elsewhere. But do you know what annoys me the most about Stephen Naismith? He's the fucking same age as me.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I've lived a colourful life. He's been a fucking, like, Premier League footballer and that. I'm like, you're an embarrassment to fucking people born in 1987. You get fucking for me, Naismith. The sooner he's off the telly, the better. Fucking we're in Leyland Scott, fucking like fleeces and that. I'm like, I can't believe how bad you make that look, and you're the same age as me. You look like fucking someone's granda trying to wear fucking feelers and fuck off.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's Uncle Fester already, and it's like the same age as you. It's like it amazes. He must have grew up
He
next
was
to
the athlete.
or something, you know. Like it's only way you playing it, like Springfield, you know.
Pam saying she
bullshit,
thought
man.
Stephen Naismith was old. No,
Yeah, so did that. So did that, Pam. Do you know
He
what I
certainly
mean?
looks
I'm actually having to now picture that, like, just to kind of like stand up for myself, just in case folk have sort of joined those dots and thought, oh yeah, kind of. Fuck that. No way. Unacceptable.
Joe Henry saying midlife crisis. It's a bit of a midlife crisis for Naismith. But yeah, Naismith. Oh, yeah, pretty much Graham Tyrrell summing it up perfectly about Naismith. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Remember he fucking tripped up Jota at the touchline? I always think of that.
Remember was he stamped on Johnny Hayes? Remember he stamped on him?
Brown.
He screamed right in his face. Aye.
And remember when he was like doing the coaching? No, he's at the end of the technical area, you know, a bit Arteta-esque. And then he leaves his leg in, and then he still dives. I'm like, mate, you can't get a free kick anymore for doing that. Like, you've totally just forgotten for when we say it was like it was fucking something ingrained in him, probably for his Rangers days. Yeah. Just leave the leg in there, take the foul, do the wee rollabout, like the wee pirouette in midair. You get him a booking early on, he'll be playing safe the rest of the game. I'm like, you're fucking in trackies, you're fucking dafty. Wow, just a fucking what an arsehole.
Yeah. I say he's at a job now. He can't hurt us now, so who knows where he'll surface next. But I say
he still hurt my feelings being the same age as me, man.
Yeah, that is gonna hurt. But we'll head off now, guys. We'll go and contemplate that life lesson there that we've just learned. So yeah, we'll head off now into the abyss and enjoy the game tomorrow, wherever you watch it, guys. Whether you're going to Perth to watch it, whether you're in Vancouver like Liam watching it, it'll be a nice time for you tomorrow as well, Liam. It will be not a bad time at all to be watching the game. So yeah, wherever you watch it, then enjoy it. It's on Premier Sport, remember, it's not on Sky because this is Premier Sport's time slot, 5:30 or 5:45 on a Saturday night. So yeah, and hopefully when PMP's on tomorrow, we'll talk about another resounding victory. I've got a funny feeling we will be. And then it's all eyes on Tuesday. Yes, indeed. And we'll be back on Tuesday night for the Tuesday ticket, the preview show. David Logue will be in the driving seat for that one. Looking forward to it. And then it's the big main event then. So yeah, enjoy the game tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks. And we shall see you the next time. Catch you later, guys.